Okay, finally can get this started. Boys are asleep. I'm in my new space. It's like I rented an office space in Three Rivers. Decent money per month. It's the beginnings of a YouTube empire. So yeah, here we go. So here we go. We got this matrix equation. Now, if this was a 2y minus, let's say this was negative 2y minus 6 equals 23. If that was the case, then I would add this matrix, and then I would divide by negative 2. Now, the only problem with matrix equations is that, yes, I will add this whole matrix to this matrix, but I have to make sure that the dimensions match. But I can't divide a matrix by itself. The matrix to undo matrix multiplication, I believe I mentioned in the other video, it requires a completely different way. Okay, that's what makes it so weird. And there's proofs for this, but we don't have to do it in this course. So we're going to go ahead and just add this matrix here. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll actually just put it underneath, knowing that when you add, the elements have to match exactly. This is a 2 by 2. This is a 2 by 2. So that will go away. All right. And what I'm left with is this. I'll have negative 2, 1, 1, negative 3 in front. I'll mention I probably should have started with something first, but I'll get to that in a second. Now I have 23 plus 6 is 29. Negative 18 plus 3 is negative 15. Negative 41 plus a positive 4 is negative 37. And then a 15 plus 0 is 15. All right, so now what we're going to do, I want to get my calculator ready actually. What you want to be able to, you do want to be able to do this by hand. Now, one of them I will require you to do by hand. The other you can just use a calculator. Okay. Now, what I should have probably done first, though, is see if this matrix actually has an inverse. Now, maybe you've done enough of them by now where you know that this guy does. We check its determinant first. And so the determinant is, let me get the microphone, I want you to be able to hear me. The determinant is this guy, negative 2 times negative 3. Okay, remember it's AD minus BC. This is 6 minus 1, so that's 5. So that means then that my determinant is a positive 5, therefore it has an inverse, but it will look like this. 1/5. Then I go ahead and switch these guys, and then make those guys have a sign change. Okay. Now if I multiply both sides by this, now I'm going to only do this for this one example. Okay. All right, 1/5. Notice how I'm putting them in front. Okay. Okay, so I have my inverse matrix multiplied to this times y equals this. So notice that I multiplied both sides by this. Now you do not have to write this out. Okay, you do not have to write this out, because what will happen is if I were to multiply this right here, I'm going to get the identity matrix. Okay, and I just want to verify that with you for just a second. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6 plus negative 1 is 5. 1/5 times 5 is 1. If I kept doing this, I'm going to end up with this. That's the identity matrix. That is the matrix equivalent of 1. Okay, so 1y is just y. If I were to keep going, I could show you that undoing, like what we do by doing this whole process of getting an inverse is that we are creating a kind of like a reciprocal, okay? So that when I multiply it, I get the identity matrix. So literally, those cancel out, okay? But I do have to multiply this, all right? And this is going to take a few seconds. So let's go ahead and do this. I got, I'm actually going to be careful here. I'm so tired. Okay, let's see. We got negative 3 times 29, negative 87, plus a positive 37. It's negative 50. Now, I'm not worried about big numbers because, remember, I'm going to be multiplying by 1/5 in a second here. Okay, the next one remember this is matrix multiplication. That is going to be positive 45 plus negative 15, so that's 30. Okay, dividing by 5, divisible by 5. Okay, negative 29 plus, what's 2 times 37? I want to be careful, 74, so that would be a positive 74. So what's 74 minus 29? It's 45, also divisible by 5. I know I'm on the right track. And then finally, positive 15, and then that would be a negative 30, and that would give me negative 15. All are divisible by 5. So y equals 1/5 distributed to each one of these guys, so just divide everything by 5. And we get 10, we get 6, we get 9, and we get negative 3. That's my answer. Okay, so these are kind of lengthy. I'm going to have you do one by hand. The rest you can do it by calculator. Now, this is 7. What I'll do is, I did this one by hand, but I will do 8 by calculator. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that by calculator. 9 is by calculator, but that's a setup, different setup. Okay, and then I said cross out 11 and 12 because 7 and 8 are essentially 11 and 12. Okay? All right, let's go. So now I'm going to do number 8. Get a darker color here. Number 8 is going to be negative 8 plus negative 1, negative 3, 2, 6 times b equals 8, negative 40. Okay. All right. So now it's the same process. Now I have to subtract. That's actually negative. I don't know if this marker actually helps. So if I'm going to subtract this, okay, because remember this is being added, so I have to subtract this. That I might as well just add a positive 8 here to both of those. All right, that's how we undo this. Now what I want to do though, okay, is I want to do this all in the calculator now. All right, so we have, I'm going to store this. I'm going to call this matrix A, B, and C. Okay, so I go to second matrix, which is here. Now I've got some stuff stored there. I can delete it or overwrite it. If I delete it, I would go to second memory, and I would go to memory management. We went through this before, but it's easy to forget. We only did it once. I'm going to go down to matrix. All right, there they are listed, and I will just hit DEL each time, and then that way it's totally clear. All right. Now, if you want me to clear your matrices before you get started on this test tomorrow, that's absolutely fine. Just bring it up and I'll do it. Okay, I don't want you to have to remember memory management. The only way you get that stuff is when you have your own calculator, and then you kind of get more personal with it. Okay, so Shirley and I here are pretty close. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to edit. All right, now I'm going to go in order. A, B, and C. Now that capital B is different. I mean, what I'll do is, why don't I go A, C, D, all right, because I don't want there to be confusion. That B is not going to be, was not going to be that B here, okay? So I'm going to call that matrix A, matrix B, C, and matrix D, all right? So I'm going to edit A. That is a 2 by 1. I will hit enter. When I enter this, negative 8 and negative 8. Now notice I am typing exactly as I see it, okay? Alright, so let's go to quit, second matrix. Now I will edit, I'll go to C, we'll actually push over to edit. C, I will put this guy, that is a 2 by 2. Alright, negative 1, negative 3, 2, and 6. Alright, so he's good, I get quit, second matrix. Now I'm going to edit D, and D will be this 2 by 1, and this guy's going to be 8, and then negative 40. Okay, now, whoa. Okay, I just saw that was, nope, right here. This, I said 2 by 8, I needed 2 by 1. Okay, 2 by 1, so that's 8 and negative 40. Okay, so now what I can do is I just do what I'm supposed to do logically. So I need to subtract. I need to take this D matrix. In fact, let me label it. This is the D matrix. that is the A, and we call that the C. Okay? So I'm going to take D and I'm going to subtract A. So matrix, second matrix, D minus A, second matrix. Okay? All right, so that's that guy. Okay, 16. 16. Okay, now what I can do is I can store this guy. Okay, I can store it. So see the STO? I can store it and then plug it into second matrix. Why don't we call this guy E? Okay, so now he's in E. So now I don't have D over here. I have E. Okay? Now what I need to do though is take the C matrix and actually multiply this side by his inverse. Alright, now I can do it by hand. It might be quicker. I don't know. But if you're handy with the calculator, you can literally, I can just grab C and make it an inverse and then multiply it to E because I just stored it to E. Okay, I didn't even have to type it in. I just stored it. So now I have second matrix. I'm going to go to C, hit enter. I want him to be an inverse. Okay, then I'm going to, so inverse is this x to the negative 1 button. Okay, that's the inverse button. Then I will multiply to E, which is second matrix. I go down to E, hit enter. Singular matrix, go to, what's the problem? Let me check. Singular matrix. Oh, I did not check whether or not C has a determinant. The reason why it's a calculator error is because negative 6 minus a negative 6 is actually 0. So my calculator was saying, sorry guy, there's no inverse. Okay? So this means this guy is a no solution. Okay? Now, if I would have just started from the top and actually calculate, see if this guy has an inverse, not these two, I don't care. These guys are easy to do by hand, actually. But I want this matrix that's attached to B by multiplication, I have to see if this guy has an inverse, all right? And that's why I kept getting that error, okay? There's just, it doesn't have an inverse, all right? So, that was silly enough, but hey, it's a good learning lesson, and that's what you got to look out for tomorrow, all right? And then we're going to stop here. I'll upload it, move on.